Okay, so I've been thinking about producer co-ops, and the idea I need a term like private enterprise co-op or something. It's not a charity, and it's not a Whole Foods store. It's more this Mondragon style business of producers, and I mentioned to Numinous, but I think Numinous, if you're watching this, you got the wrong idea. I mean, I'm not saying a project, just a conversation on the subject of what might be the good form of a business. And I would like somebody coming from various people, rather, coming from various sides to that. But in the Mondragon example, and I talked to Numinous because I think twice I said, hey, have you ever heard of Mondragon? When I'd already talked to him about Mondragon, but most people are like, no, never heard of it. So, he points out some interesting things about Mondragon is that, it's not totally egalitarian. Inside the company, it's very much flatter and more like you would say egalitarian. But it's not that easy to get in. You have to have money because you have to invest in the business to get a job. You have to own part of the business to get a job. Now, I'd like to do that a little different. For example, as a signing bonus, you give people $1,000 worth of the company. Okay, so one of the first problems I've had in starting businesses with my sensibilities of how it should run is that basically you start a business, you say, hey, John, let's start a business. And then you both own 50%. Even if John doesn't do his share, he still owns 50%. And I like sweat equity. And I've had thinking about stock. So here's what I figured out. I think, what if you have a company where, let's say the shares are $10 each. And if you're paying somebody $20 an hour, you give them 2 shares an hour. And the company buys. I mean, a share basically is the company will give you $10 for that. Like on the gold standard kind of thing. Here's your ounce of gold. Here's your $10 and give us our share back. You have to have shares to work in the company. Every time somebody works for the company, there's more shares. Right, so let's say there's 10,000 shares because of the work I've done in the company so far, and somebody works another 100 shares worth. Then there's 10,100 shares, right? Now the idea is that if the person worked, $1,000 worth of labor, then the company's worth $1,000 more, so there's more shares available, right? That's the investment guess you're making. This is how a lot of accounting's done, I think. I'm putting this out there for business people to go ahead and correct me. I've been trying to figure out how this can work and hook with the regular system. I don't think you can go public with the kind of system I'm presenting, but I don't want to. But I do think you can have a limited liability company of some sort. All right. Now here's the thing. Let's say that $1,000 worth of value is actually worth $20,000, right? Because they make something that the company sells and makes $20,000 off of. Okay, so then those shares that are set at $10, the company will pay back for $10, are actually worth, I don't know what it'd be. I didn't keep track of the math, but it's $200 a share. All right. Now to get that, you have to sell it to another person. The company, it will pay for $10 a share. But I was thinking you could have a splitting thing where every year the shares you have in the vested shares that might be worth more than $10 get split so that it loosens up so the company could keep an account to be able to buy those shares back. And if ever the company had enough money in that account to buy all the outstanding shares at $10 a share, which it would at times, it could use the extra money. So anyway, I'm curious on how setting this up. Now, I don't want people to get confused with the video server idea because that's even more distributed than this. I just am going to have one node, and I am interested in whatever organization I set up to own that node, having some kind of structure like this. But the way I'm going to work it out is that if you want to contribute to the node, what you do is you buy one. You can buy it from me. I'll set you up a Rackspace server, copy the image over. If you want to start your literally own thing where you get your own Ubuntu server or whatever kind of server you want and you install the stuff, we'll have the instructions, though that requires labor, and I'll let you have, I'll sell you my image or something, but it'll be open source, so there won't be much of a market for that because you'll be able to give the software to other people. And then by pointing IPs at each other, these things can be in a web that is totally provides a unified front, even whether they're sub hosts at Rackspace in my cloud or in yours, or not even a cloud but just a regular Unix server. So that's separate, right? This one node would be run this way. And I think why this will work is that there's a low entry, right? It's like a video site where if you go ahead and get a premium account, then you can moderate your own little world. And plenty of people form cliques that could then have their own sub-host. If I'm in a sub-host with conference report voting on the rules of the road, we might vote for content warnings and to allow stuff, or maybe we'll vote for not even content warnings, but the whole site would have to have one, because we'd be the kind of site that's like, okay, well, this might have nudity, be prepared. Or maybe we couldn't agree on that. Fine, we go different ways. He'd have his own where he moderates it, and I'd have my own, and we'd share videos so we could still reply and interact, right? Because there's two levels of not taking other people's information. One is just not wanting to store their videos and spend the money on streaming and storing their videos, right? So you don't mirror. But you could still, in your database, have all the information to say, well, here's where it is on the net. So if it comes up in my website, even though I don't have the file, I just point to conference reports and people can stream it, right? So there's multiple levels. And then, you could also say, well, I don't even want to index that. If somebody's at my website, then it's safe search mode. See, I won't make a site like that, but I think it's good to enable that for whatever reason. Well, my site will be a little bit like that because I want to be able to make judgments on what I consider part of the greater public debate. And I don't want to mirror anything that isn't a part of that. And indexing, I probably index everything. All of this requires these trust networks where, let's say I want family-friendly content. It requires trust that if something's tagged family-friendly at a particular site, that's trustworthy, and it really will be family-friendly. And this is what the individual site owners have to arrange to be trustworthy, saying this is funny, this is family-friendly, this is relevant to the greater public debate. Those tags will have to be reputation-driven, based on the people that gave the communities, rather, that applied the tag.